Good day, fellas and ladies. I was just looking at my little blind there. Wind played havoc on it. This is some thick stuff. Trail cut down through there. Yeah, this is, as I like to say, thick as a hair on a dog's back. But that's not why I wanted to make this video. I wanted to make a quick video to talk about hunting equipment. More or less the weapons, the bows, crossbows, rifles, shotguns. And, you know, just like anybody, it's nice when you can get a new rifle and go to the range and set that joker up and get it set up the way you want it and blah, 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 blah. But just to be honest, there's a lot of folks that it don't fall in their budget, you know. If you've got a rifle you've been hunting with, 30-30, it was grandpa's or something, and that's what you really like, that's freaking awesome. I bet you there's been more deer killed with a 30-30 than all other calibers combined and may never catch up. But if you got a hankering for another gun and or bow, and you just can't swing the budget to get it, I'm gonna give you a little advice. All right, everybody likes to get new stuff to hunt with. Maybe you need something that fits a specific niche of what you're doing. Let's say you're starting duck hunting and you need a good shotgun for duck hunting or turkey hunting. I need that shotgun that'll hold a good pattern with a good chuck tube and blah 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 blah. Or maybe you have a single shot shotgun and that's fine. I've killed a bunch of animals with a single shot. But let's say you just want to upgrade, but the budget's not there to do it. You know, let's say you want to change up what you're doing with deer hunting or elk hunting or whatever type of hunt you're doing. And you say, hey, I'm going to go look at a rifle. You go and you find rifles, you know, and not down anything you buy at Walmart. The Savage, Axis, Ruger American, they're really good rifles. But hey, let's say you don't even have that budget. Let's say you're real tight right now. What can you do? Well, I tell you something. I bought this rifle about 5 or 6 years ago. And I was smooth as butter, man. And I go by the pawn shops and I see what they got. And they had this rifle and it was painted black and green, camoed up and everything. And they'd taken something and scratched the barrel where they could read it said 300 Win Mag, and they could read where it said Savage. So they had it priced at $275 with a crappy little scope on it. So I went back 4 or 5 times over the next month, I guess, and they still had the rifle. So I asked the guy what the bottom dollar was on it, and he came off like $25 or something. So I said, nah, I don't need no guns. I got a 270 short mag. I got my Henry 44 Magnum now. I got a 30-06. I got 270s. I got all kind of hunting rifles. I really don't need another hunting rifle. So I left it there. Plus, it's a 300 Win Mag, you know. A little bit more than what I need, but anyway, time goes by. Somebody tells me I'm looking for a biscuit cutter for woodworking. I don't know if you know what a biscuit cutter is, but anyway, that's another subject. And I go by this pawn shop, and this time has gone by, it's months. And lo and behold, there's that rifle in the rack. And I guess all together from the time I first saw it to now, it's been like a year. So I asked the guy, I says, that old camoed up rifle up there, what you want for it? And I was really looking for a rifle to make a project gun out of, you know. If it never turns out to be nothing great, no big deal. He said, what you give me for it? I said, well, I'll offer you what it's worth to me. It might not be what it's worth to you, and I don't want to insult you. But this is what I plan on doing with it. I told him I plan on stocks, I plan on threading barrels, I plan all kinds of stuff. It's going to be a project. And I told him, I said, I'll give you $175 for it. He said, sold. So that was the beginning. You can see now, it's not black and green camoed. It's a really nice rifle. Has a really rigid stock on it. I mean, super rigid. I can take the recoil pad off and take the action out, and I mean, it's thick. So the first thing I did is I went and bought some 2-part epoxy, and I epoxy bedded it. I'll have a video up on how to do that before long. I'm going to do another rifle for a friend. But anyway, I epoxy bedded it. And then it had a long pencil barrel on it. So I said, well, you know, I'm going to cut that barrel off and recrown it. So I cut 4 inches off of the barrel. The barrel, I weirdly, was 24 and a half inches long. So I cut 4 inches off. I left a ½ inch in case I decide to thread it. And I'm thinking muzzle brake or suppressor or something. Anyway, I got that done. I can run a dollar bill under the barrel, all that good stuff. Well, I took the junk scope off of it, and this scope, I know you see the S on the side of it right there, and instantly you're probably thinking, oh God. Well, I'm gonna tell you what, I had this scope on a 30-06 Remington 700 for about 20 years. All right, I mounted, I put the scope mounts on it, I lapped the scope mounts, I installed the scope, I tightened the screws, I sighted the scope in. And over 20 years, I never took the caps off of it. It stayed sighted in. It has a ridiculous clear glass. I don't know. Simmons doesn't make the 44 mag scope anymore, I don't believe, and it's probably because they were selling them too cheap for the money they were putting into them, because these things have ridiculous glass in them. If you find a Simmons 44 mag scope on eBay or something, and it says great condition, or you get a refund if it's not good, buy it. You won't regret it. But anyway, I took the old 44 mag scope, and I love putting rails on, because it keeps everything straight. It's just, I like rails. You can't go wrong. Well, this rail went on an old short action rifle I had, and you can probably tell by the cutout right there that lets your bullet fly out of the chamber after you fire your empty shell, that it was on a short action. Well, I put it on here just to see how it would do. No problem. All the spent cartridges, when they come out, come straight out the side. I have loaded this thing up many times and just fast cycle it. I've never had a single problem, so that's great. I already had that. If you don't have it, you can get them for like 25 bucks. You know, go on Amazon and buy you one. Anyway, I don't want this thing to be too long, so I'm going to move ahead. 300 Win Mag. I cut the barrel and I crowned the barrel, so that I do a lot of hunting in the mountains where I'm having to swing a lot. I put it on my shoulder and I'm walking through a bunch of tree limbs. So I wanted to get it as short as I could get it and maintain accuracy. So I took a hacksaw to it, and you can cut a stainless barrel with a hacksaw. Just take your time, and it took me maybe 4 minutes to cut this thing off. So I cut it off, and the end of it, I put a new crown in it. And what I use for a crown, I work in the machine tool industry, machining. And one of the shops I was working at, I borrowed a 45-degree chamfering tool. And that's what I crowned it with. All right. So now it's been cut, it's been crowned, it's been glass bedded. I put a scope on it. I fired a couple of rounds after I bore sighted it with my little bore sighter. And everything's pretty good, but it kicked like a redneck mule, son. I ain't joking. So I take this rifle and I'm going to look for a recoil pad, because the recoil pad that's on here is hard. I mean hard. And I don't know why they put such recoil pads on it. And so I was looking for a recoil pad. Well, I find this. It's a slip over, and it actually looks pretty cool on there. It's a limb saver. And try to find the one that looks like it's got rubber springs in it. And I think this recoil pad was like $35 or something like that. It wasn't bad at all. So I bring it back home in my little range here. I got a little range where I can shoot like 60 yards here, mainly pistols and stuff. And I set up a target and put it on my lead sled, and I shoot it. I get the darn thing where I can get a 3-shot group at 60 yards almost every time. At least 2 of the 3 will be touching the previous hole. And I'm like, wow, darn, that's pretty good, you know. All right, so then I take it out of the lead sled, and this thing kicks, Bo. and I fired it with the Limb Saver recoil pad on it. And while it still recoils, you know, I mean, it's got a pretty good recoil to it. While it still recoils, it don't hurt. It's like the difference in somebody punching you in the shoulder and somebody shoving you in the shoulder real hard. I'm not going to put any links down here. You can remember Limb Saver slip-on recoil pad. My goal here is not to sell you something or put an affiliate link where you can buy this if you click on my link. I'm just telling the truth. I want you guys to understand what's going on. So go to Amazon, Limb Saver slip-on recoil pad. This is a Savage 116 300 Win Mag, and the medium fits. They're small, medium, and large. If it's a full-size rifle, it'll be either medium or large. Some of the big stocks, like on a Weatherby, they'll be large. Anywho, everything I got in this thing, $175 for the rifle. I already had the scope. I did buy rings, and let me show you these rings. Each end of these rings has two straps. Each strap has 2 screws, so you got a total of 4 straps and 8 screws. All right, I've got some loophole mounts that I've put on rifles before that have 1 screw and 1 strap. And I have had those things, whether it got bumped, whatever, the scope slide in it. I like these, or the Vortex has 1 clamp with 3 screws on each side, 6 screws here and 6 screws here, 8 screws. I got those with my Vortex Diamondback scope that's on my 270 short mag. These are Weavers, just Weaver scope mounts, bought them at Academy. I had to use the high scope mounts because this is a 44mm scope, and I've got enough room left. I can put a 50mm on it without it touching, which is I may do someday, but I'm tickled with this scope, so I don't plan on it. But anyway, I have like $25 in the rail. These little bikini covers, I like those because they're rubber and they actually fit tight. It's almost like having a large O-ring or something on each end, so water and condensation doesn't get in there and sticks and leaves and things when you're walking through the woods. These are like $12 or something, Butler Creek. I got them at Walmart, like $12. I get these things, you see these things all the time, and they're Allen. I think I got it at Academy for like $8 or something. Always these little mag light. Well, this is not a mag brand light, but it's a little. You can get little mag lights like this. Holds 1 AAA battery. Get you one of these. And reason being, I usually have a couple of headlamps. As soon as I usually have a couple of headlamps. But I've been in the woods many times and pull out a headlamp and start walking 2 miles out of the woods and my flashlight die and no moon. A little backup plan. It didn't cost me anything to cut and crown the barrel because I did it myself. Strap, these are awesome straps, man. I mean, really, it's a Browning strap. Again, I'm gonna cut that stupid white tag off of it, but it came from Academy. It's $19. Came with the metal quick release sling swivels on it. And so, Mike, why are you telling me all this? I'm telling you this, if you want a new rifle, new to you rifle, something that fits your bill, something you're not scared to do some work on, I've had fun playing with this thing. And all together, as I'm sitting here, I'm gonna say I got less, I got less than $250 in this gun. Maybe right at $250 from a pawn shop. All right. My wife's cousin offered me $600 for this rifle, and I told him no. You know why I told him no? Because I left my little range here, and this is before I decided to start filming this stuff, and I went to the rifle range, shot it at 100 yards, and I'm holding sub 1 MOA at 100 yards all day long with a $175 rifle. Now, I've got $200 less in this rifle, and it's a super quality rifle. This is not the kind of rifle you go to Walmart and buy. And again, I'm not shooting at Walmart. I got a Savage Axis 30-06 at Drive Tax. But I paid less for a higher quality firearm than you can buy them at Walmart. And I'm debating on whether to follow one of the YouTubers videos and repaint this thing. The only reason on a sunny day, this thing shines like new money. But anyway, that's where we're at on this thing. Oh, and I put a Timney trigger in it. I got it used off eBay too. Got it used off eBay for 50 bucks. 50 bucks. So now I got right at 300 in it. I forgot about the trigger. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to mislead anybody. But the action, man, I've got a Remington 700 that was made back when Remington actually made good firearms. Well, there's a rabbit hole I'm gonna get eat up on. And his every bit as good. This one right there with the 700. Anyway, don't let people tell you, oh, you got to have the newest Matthews bow or the newest Hoyt bow. You got to put 1,500 bucks into a bow before you put accessories on it, or you got to go buy a $1,000 rifle, because it's not true. When you're hunting, when you're searching for a new bow, you need to pick a bow that fits you. You need to pick a bow that you like, that you can draw smoothly with. You can come back to the wall and be like, wow, I like that. And the industry now is like, you have to pull 70 pounds. You don't have to pull 70 pounds. There's a girl that lives not too far from me. She's 19 years old. And she's killed 2 Pope and Young bucks after she started hunting 3 years ago with a bow that's pulling 47 pounds. All right, it's what you practice with and what you get used to. If you go to the pawn shop and you find a bow, make sure you ask the pawn shop owner, look, if I take this to a bow shop and they find something wrong with it, can I return it? At least get a verbal pledge to that. Most people are not going to ruin their business over an inexpensive bow. Bear makes good products. PSE makes good products. There's a lot of good products. If you, like me, I have a bad shoulder, and I'm probably going to dial my bow back to 60 pounds this year. All right. If maybe you can't do that, maybe you're handicapped, maybe you're in a wheelchair, maybe whatever, maybe you're older, maybe you're young, and you want to try out a crossbow. Don't listen to all the bow hunters. You're not really a bow hunter because you use a crossbow. That's bull crap. All us hunters need to stick together and support each other. If you're out there hunting and you're enjoying yourself and you're doing what you want to do legally and ethically, need to be support for those people. Try out your pawn shops. You know, I mean, there's a lot of different methods. You used to be able to go on like Facebook Marketplace, and there was a paper circular that came out every week around here called the Piedmont Trading Post. It was replaced by Iwana. Well, they had firearms in them, and they've long since gone. Word of mouth. You can find some good deals out there. Will you occasionally possibly find a dud? Maybe one the barrel's been shot out of? That's possible, but not highly likely. If you take the bolt out of a bolt action rifle and look down there and you can see the rifling, if it looks like the rifling is like really low, or it looks like the end of the barrel, there's no rifling in it, leave it, you know. If you get that same pledge from the owner, if I take this to my gunsmith and he takes a look at it and finds something wrong, can I return it? You know, it's really as easy as that. If you're not real experienced with this stuff, I would suggest you do take it to a gunsmith, let him smoke it up. Just tell him you want a safety check and is this a good rifle? Let him look it over. Most of the time, they're not going to charge you over like 50 bucks to look at it and check some things, you know. It's worth it. Especially when you're talking a rifle like this. If I bought this rifle new that can do what this rifle does, I'm looking at least $750, $800. You know, if you can't afford that, nothing wrong with that. You can still make it happen. You can still get out in the woods. Anyway, that's pretty much all I got to say about that. I just wanted to share that with y'all because I heard some guys the other day, and I was at a gun shop where I bought a Henry and I had to send it back and blah, 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 blah. But I was listening to them talk, and they were like, oh, you've got to try the Tikka T3. And the other guy's arguing, and he's like, no, you got to do, you know, and I'm like, these guys. And the hunting industry's done that. You got to buy this scent. You got to buy these clothes. You got to have on this camouflage, you have to be wearing these boots, you have to be shooting this gun, you have to be shooting this tree, hunting out this tree stand, and all that crap. It's bull. When I started hunting, one old man that got me hunting was, thanks boys for doing that. If you're looking down from heaven, he's long since passed away. But he got me into hunting. He would get off work. He worked in a factory, and he would wear his uniform shirt, a stinky, oily uniform shirt. And he worked in a textile mill. Down here in the South, we call it cotton mills, you know. And he'd get off, and he had a little Ziploc bag or a cigarette cellophane. He'd put it in his pocket. Well, at the end of the day, he'd take some of that old raw cotton with the cotton dust in it, put it in that thing. And we'd go hunting. Most of the time, we'd go down and we'd sleep in the back of the truck, or go up in the mountain, sleep in the back of the truck. And he'd get up the next morning, and he'd slide his boots on, and he'd reach in there and grab some of that old cotton fibers with the dust all in it. Check the wind. He'd go down the wood, never owned a tree stand. Owned a Remington 742 Woodsmaster with no scope on it. And that dude stacked deer up like cordwood, son. Yeah, I'm not joking. Over the last 20-25 years, the hunting industry, all the videos, and there's a lot of good stuff out there. I'm not down on them all, but a lot of stuff, they're trying to sell stuff. So their stuff's going to be the best, obviously. Well, it's not. You get back to traditions. You get back to the wind. You're not going to fool a deer's nose. You get back to find something that makes you happy, that don't break the bank, where you got to go in the woods and you got to worry about paying your power bill because you bought a new Tikka T3. You know, I mean, that's hunting. I enjoy hunting. Yes, I get to put meat in the freezer, but if it gets where I don't enjoy it, I'm not going to do it. But I'm sorry for this long video. It went longer than I hoped it would. Oh, and one last thing. You notice the Hunting Public hoodie. All right, it's a little big. A year ago, I weighed 340 pounds, and I bought this thing. It's a 3X, and now I wear extra large. I'm about to order a new one. I lost 90 pounds so far. I found out I was diabetic. Another story for another day. If you watch videos and you enjoy people's content, and like the Hunting Public guys, they go all over the place, and they work really hard putting this information out there, support their channel. Okay? Buy a hoodie or a cap or something. This is another channel I like, the Do-It-Yourself Hunter. Jeremy and Daniel and those guys, man, I enjoy it immensely. Jeremy, they are out of Mississippi. I know what it's like to be down here in the South and hunting deer and thickets and stuff. There's several others I like too, you know. I mean, if you enjoy people's content, support them. I don't have merch and I don't have links you can click on and everything. I'm just starting out. Maybe one day I will. Right now, I just want to share the truth and my opinion with you. And if you'll leave a comment below and let me know if you disagree with any of this, because I don't know everything. And I'm 53 years old, but I'm still growing. You know, I'm always willing to learn something. That's why I like watching Jeremy and Daniel on Do-It-Yourself Hunter, and Aaron and Zach and Ted and all these guys on Hunting Public. I like watching that stuff. I don't watch TV at all. There's no Law and Order episodes that I've ever seen or anything. That's what I watch, so that's what I support. Anyway, if you like this stuff, I'm just a down-home old hillbilly guy, just sharing my honest opinion with you. I'd appreciate if you give me a subscribe, like the video, comment, and let me know where you disagree with me or if you agree with me. You know, if you're watching this, it's probably because you want to learn something, or you might have something you want to share that contradicts what I said. If you did, I'll make a video thanking you for straightening me out. You know, I'm good with it. But don't let the hunting industry and other people dictate your joy. You know, that ruins it. That ruins it for all of us. That's pretty much it. So, sorry for the long video. I hope you guys have a great and blessed day. Get out in the woods. Take a kid with you out in the woods. Find a kid. Maybe you don't have a dad around, or no, he doesn't have opportunities to get out and enjoy what we do. Take the kid hunting. Take the kid to the dove field. Take him fishing for an afternoon. Put a little bit of interest in these people, because if we don't start building our hunting and fishing community, all us old guys are moving on now, and there's not nearly as many young guys getting into it as there were when we were kids. So pass it along, and have fun out there, be safe, and God bless.